our church was founded 2 years before I came, and in those 2 years they met at Metro Christian Academy. They called a pastor, Larry Thompson, who was an excellent communicator of the gospel, and God began to bless. And they grew incredibly fast, and they got up to about 900 people average on Sunday morning for Sunday school and for worship, and then some for Sunday school. And so they were growing, and they realized they needed to get a building and move, and so they had an offering called Never the Last Offering, raised money to buy land. And this gave them more impetus, and there was excitement, and God did a miracle through that. And but then all of a sudden there was a little setback because Larry Thompson felt called to another church, and he left. And then Denny Holzbauer became the interim pastor, and things went pretty well. And then I came, and I was so different than Larry Thompson that it was a change. And every time a new pastor comes, there's a change. And so people, because there wasn't a building, because there was nothing tying them there, they would gradually leave, and we gradually dwindled down. I want to tell you, it was down to about 167 people, 160 on Sunday morning. So I said, we need to build a building. We need to get a place. More than that, we need to work together spiritually. We need to have a vision and for our new church. And so it was not necessarily that a building would cause us to grow. It's the vision and the working together and the becoming one and to have the same purpose. Well, I want to tell you something. It was incredible. As we raised money and we started building, people began to know each other. We worked together almost every night of the week. We started to love each other. We had a goal, a purpose. We were driven. And this building gradually came about. But the benefit was not the building. I want to make that very clear. It's a blessing, and we're grateful for it. But the benefit was the unity and fellowship and friendship and love that was developed from all the people just working in areas where they could. The evenings they could. And I think that endeavor saved our church. I think we're here today because we had that vision, and we were unified. We had a purpose. And so we began to grow again, and things were great. And then time passed, and we were kind of stagnant. And our goal was to have this sounds kind of funny now, but our goal was to have the evangelism of Southern Baptist, the worship service of a charismatic church, and the Bible teaching of a Bible church. We didn't think we had to compromise on any of those. And so we had fairly good teaching. We were very mission-minded, and people were being saved, but our worship wasn't exactly where we wanted it to be. And the guys, they were doing their best. It was great, but we needed something. And so we decided to call John Kilgore. He came, and because of his giftedness to lead worship, no one here would say he was a great musician. He was a great worshiper and a great worship leader. And so then we added that part to it, and then we really began to grow because we had the three legs of the stool, if you please: evangelism, good music, and we were cutting edge. You know, the church was started, one of the reasons is so that we could sing the contemporary music back then, which is not contemporary now, but it was then. And we had some great worship services where the presence of God was so overwhelming that you knew you had been in His presence. And so that's really gave us more impetus again. And then later we decided, the youth were growing, we decided to join together and raise money and work together and get a youth building, and that was purpose. And so about every 5 years we had an incredible project that really envisioned us and really unified us and really said, hey, there's a purpose, and people were being saved. And I think when we stopped, for some reason, and I don't know why, having those projects, those visions, we became stagnant. And so we developed them, like the gym and so forth. So I think when I look at the buildings, I see every few years a tool that God used to bring vision and unity and help this church reach people for Christ. So I thank God that we had that. And now I'll just say there's some incredible things that God's going to do, but it's going to take a vision. It's going to take unity. We're going to have to learn to love each other just like we did before. But if we do this, the very resources of God will be poured on us, and there is no limit to what God can do through people who are unified and have a vision. And so I hope when people drive in, they see the buildings, they realize these buildings are nothing without a thriving organism called the church that has a passion and a vision for reaching people for Christ.